Hey Joe, have you played Electronic Arts' new FIFA video game?
Do you mean FIFA?
Yes. Electronic Arts' new video game, FIFA.
Yes, I've played FIFA. What do you want?
Well, I've been reading about these things called loot boxes, where you purchase this digital pack of cards. I think they're really bad.
I think you're really old.
Fine, well, here is a young man who's going to explain to you why they're bad. It's Carl Anka from The Athletic.
So, traditionally, if you've ever played a computer game, traditionally what you do is you get to a certain level or you get to a certain point in the game and you'd be given a reward. So very classically, if you got quite far in a Mario game, you beat the Mario level, you walk down a corridor, and then there's like a little turner thing, and if you hit the right thing, you've got a power up like a 1-up or a star. And that was the reward. It was a randomized reward given based on your progress in a game. Whereas loot boxes, as we now consider them, are purchasable not just for progression in the game or your reward for getting to a certain point in the game, but they are often in the corner of games being, you can buy this for a gimme up. So what used to be given a reward as to how good you are at a game can now be given as just how willing you are to part with your money.
Right, so purchase the box or the chest or the bag.
Card pack.
Then the content is revealed after the transaction has taken place. Out comes something shiny and desirable, or more likely, something a bit rubbish that you don't really want or which you already have. Importantly, you don't know what's in the box when you open it. So it's like nudging a fruit machine or spinning a roulette wheel. Roulette wheels, fruit machines. Joe, do you see where I'm going?
I get it. You're trying to say it's gambling.
The vice president of EA Sports, Kerry Hopkins, argued to British MPs when they asked her whether or not loot boxes were gambling. She argued that loot boxes were quote-unquote surprise mechanics in games, liking them a bit more to Kinder eggs. I would disagree there because when you buy a Kinder egg, you know you're going to get a toy. And you buy the Kinder Egg for the chocolate and the toy, whereas I don't think anyone truly buys a copy of FIFA or a copy of Madden or a copy of Call of Duty so they can also spend money further, which is what a loot box is. Microtransactions in mobile games or free games sort of works because you're essentially paying to get rid of advertisements or to help fund the continued manufacture of a game that will you purchase for free. Loot boxes in £40 to £50 games make slightly less sense because you've already paid upfront for content that you used to get for free previously. So especially in a series like FIFA Ultimate Team was introduced in FIFA 09. So at every single point up to FIFA 09, all the content was there. You didn't have to worry about this sort of thing. And then gradually, as the FIFA series has progressed since 2009, loot boxes and Ultimate Team and the temptation to spend money has become more apparent.
There are similarities which are really difficult to avoid. Money is changing hands for an uncertain, possibly illusory reward, and the outcome is determined by probability. What does that remind you of, Joe?
Well, I mean, for a start, how is this different to collecting panini stickers or baseball cards? I mean, back in the day, you would walk into a newsagent's as a child and spend 80p on a pack of...
Pack of Graham Hydes and Paul Bracewells.
Right, yeah, those people. So, is it not the same?
This is a really, really good question because in their original state, loot boxes, especially in the FIFA series, were not like panini stickers. But as time has gone on and as FIFA Ultimate Team has become more profitable and more successful and Ultimate Team has become a bigger deal and a bigger part of the FIFA franchise, the likeness between panini stickers and the got need element and the likeness between Ultimate Team and the fanfare you get when you open a sticker pack in Ultimate Team has become closer and closer. Nowadays in Ultimate Team, when you buy your cards, there is a little video, that short video that plays when you get some of these bigger packs that does very much replicate the sensation you would get when you'd open up a sticker packet. Sort of, there's a little cutscene that plays, a player will walk around the corridor, there'd be a little noise that goes badoo, and you're like, oh wow, this is amazing, and you get a nice little dopamine hit as hopefully you get the cards you need to make your squad works. When you look at how much time and hours you want to spend in any sort of FIFA game, there's not the career mode has been up and down. Certain modes like the Journey have only lasted for 3 iterations right now, and Volta mode, or sort of a revived FIFA Street mode, has an end point. You can complete Volta mode, whereas Ultimate Team is simply a case of can you get the better team to get to the top of the mountain. Where if you consider when you were a child, or to children watching this right now, there was an end game to the Panini sticker book. You would eventually complete the sticker book, whereas in Ultimate Team, it's a constant grind. for example. And I think a lot of the issue is there is a constant temptation to shortcut the grind by spending real life money. I think another thing is you can't go to a physical store and spend around about £1,000 on stickers, where you can do that on FIFA.
Also, Belgium agrees with me.
Oh, Belgium agrees with you?
They do agree with me. In 2018, they banned loot boxes following an investigation by the country's gaming commission.
So if I'm playing FIFA in Belgium, I can't buy a card pack?
If you're living in Belgium and you want to improve your squad in Ultimate Team, you can't use real life money. You have to use it via FIFA points. So FIFA points is sort of the in-game currency you can use to improve your squad via cards and loans and bring in various upkeep.
And there's another country on my side. In the US in 2019, Republican Senator Josh Hawley introduced the Protecting Children from Abusive Games Act onto the Senate floor with the aim of banning the sale of loot boxes to children. And he announced it with some pretty fiery rhetoric too. Only the addiction economy could produce a business model that relies on placing a casino in the hands of every child in America with the goal of getting them desperately hooked.
Yeah.
He's not overstating the dangers either, Joe. I dug into the BBC's 2019 report on microtransactions, and there are some terrible stories in there.
Okay, so probably worth pointing out before you get started that now we're talking about microtransactions generally rather than just specifically loot boxes. Loot boxes are obviously a part of microtransactions, but microtransactions are not limited to loot boxes, i.e. in certain cases you can see exactly what you're going to buy before you buy it. That is a microtransaction, but it doesn't have that loot box function of not knowing what you're going to get before you open the box.
So a 16-year-old who spent over £2,000 on EA's NBA Live, a 22-year-old autistic boy who spent over $3,000 in 3 months on a game called Hidden Artifacts, and a 15-year-old boy who spent £1,000 on Fortnite.
Actually, no, do you know what? I remember a Reddit user. In fact, let me find it. Here it is. 2017, Reddit user wrote an open letter to EA and other video game publishers confessing to having spent over $17,000 on microtransactions over the previous few years.
$17,000. Well, there are also some horrible numbers from the Parent Zone, who published their own report in 2019. 93% of children aged between 10 and 16 in the UK play video games regularly, and over 60% of 6 to 10-year-olds are also regular gamers.
Well, that's not a bad thing.
Wait. They also reported that 76% believe that online video games, quote, try to make you spend as much money as possible, end quote. And that's the huge growing industry they're being exposed to. Actually, it's a vast and predatory industry. Between 2011 and 2019, the value of the downloadable content market, that market specifically, rose from around $5 billion to over $15 billion.
And am I right in thinking that Carl's now going to explain why?
Sure is.
They're profitable, massively. So in 2018, 20% of EA Games' entire earnings came from money earned from Ultimate Team, be it in FIFA or be it in Madden. They raised something around about £850 million. That's £850 million on top of the money earned from people buying copies of FIFA or buying copies of Madden. So you've got a brand new pair of trainers, or you've got a brand new school bag, and you do whatever, and you go into school, and then a kid goes, that's not very good. My one is better. So if you look at the popularity of a game like Fortnite, whereas before, 20, 30 years ago, you finish school, go home, ride your bikes, go on MSN Messenger. Very often now, school children will go home and play Fortnite. Fortnite is their playground. It's their space where they do things. And if you are the character, if you're the in-game character with very bland items, there is an element of social pressure in order to make you want to get better items so your outfit looks better. Very similar to the playground, sort of, you want better shoes so no one picks on you. Now, whether or not a game offers you that very easily via in-game progression and your skill, or very often goes, you can just spend money and get it quicker, that's the debate. And that is the debate as to whether or not it's ethical to charge money on top of full-price games in order to circumvent certain societal pressures in the real world.
In 2018, the UK Gambling Commission found that 31% of 11 to 16-year-olds had paid for loot boxes. Right. And in the same year, the Digital Culture, Media and Sport Committee advised that loot boxes should be regulated as gambling. The House of Lords Gambling Committee, reporting in July of this year, 2020, argued that loot boxes should be classified as games of chance. If a product looks like gambling and feels like gambling, it should be regulated as gambling. That's a quote from its chairman, Lord Grade, who also said that the 2005 Gambling Act is way behind what is actually happening in the market.
Oh dear. So, Carl, where are we headed?
I think what will happen next is greater legislations, greater signposting to concerned parents. So if anyone plays a video game or purchases a video game, very often there's a little badge at the bottom, a PEGI rating, sort of at what age this is appropriate, and then on the back there are certain symbols indicating if there's drug use or violence or profanity. And I think what the next thing will happen is we'll get a badge that will say this game includes microtransactions. So it's a real cat and mouse situation between government law legislators that don't perhaps understand what loot boxes are and how video game systems work, and people in the video game world who, for reasons, have discovered a very lucrative revenue stream and would like to maximize that for as long as possible. And in the middle, you've got consumers that are very knowledgeable of these current systems, and some of them are avoiding it. You've got some consumers that are quite young and don't really understand what's going on. And you've also got parents who would like to buy more games but don't really understand. I'm sat here nearly in my 30s, and while I have not ever bought a loot box for a FIFA game, when I set up my nephew's PlayStation 4, I entered my credit card details in there to help him set up, and then one Saturday I switched on my phone and watched Monzo transaction after Monzo transaction after Monzo transaction go forward as this 12-year-old spent a lot of Ultimate Team points on my card. That was funny. It won't be funny next time.
The Athletic is in-depth sports coverage that helps fans see the game from every angle. And Tifo is delighted to be able to offer full access to The Athletic now for just £1 per month. See the link in the description for details of this introductory offer. For football fans, that's access to the writing of journalists dedicated to your team, plus David Ornstein, Phil Hay, Daniel Taylor and many more. Not to mention over 400 full-time writers offering inside access and independent analysis of every team that you follow across every league that you care about. Get local expertise and unmatched league-wide perspective. The Athletics writers are in the bubble, on the field and behind the scenes as it all happens. Catch up, go deep, and join the conversation on the most important happenings in sports.